Hello and welcome to the channel, and yes, Deathwatch are back. So I wanted to do this video mainly to sort of discuss my thoughts about the new or returned Deathwatch Index, and I also took them to a tournament literally the day after the index dropped to sort of see how they were, and yes, I did rather well. I went undefeated, so that's got to say something, considering before Deathwatch were like the worst faction in terms of win rates. So yeah, things are looking good for the Deathwatch. So I'm going to talk a bit about my list, a bit about how the tournament went, and then I'll give some thoughts around the index and the revamped kill teams and things like that. So before I dive in, if you like the content, smash the like button. Hit subscribe if you want to see more. There's normally a battle report or something every week. And if you want to help support the channel further, you can become a YouTube channel member, which grants you early access to videos along with other perks. So yes, without further ado, Deathwatch. So this is the list I took to a little local free game one-day tournament literally just a few days ago, the day after the index dropped. And yeah, let's run through what I've got. So to kick things off, the Warlord is a captain in Terminator armor. So yeah, he's there, but getting joined by a unit of Deathwatch Terminators. So I've got 3 Cyclone missile launchers, 2 Hammonators joining him. That they were a pretty good, solid unit, I think now, especially for the points drop that they've got. The Hammonators take the damage, the Cyclones do the damage, and the captains with them, you know, just to get the free CP on them and things, which is nice for armor contempt and things. So they were sort of like a solid, durable unit. They weren't massively killy. You know, Terminators just aren't that killy this edition, really, but they are difficult to kill. And they can be a nuisance, and they're pretty good. The main reason why I bring them along is because there's an enhancement called the Tome of Ectoclades, which has to go on a Watchmaster or a Captain, and it's a once per battle double Oath of Moment, which is really strong. It's really nice. It's not quite as good as it used to be. You used to be able to point at 2 targets and reroll hits and wounds against it. Now it's just reroll hits, but it's still really good, and it's a once per game thing. And it's quite an expensive enhancement, and you have to be like on the battlefield, I think, to like activate it. So basically, I put it on the most durable captain I can find and the most durable unit I can find to ensure I get it off, basically. So that's why I've got a captain with some Terminators. I suppose having like a Watchmaster with like veterans or something. But their job was to protect him so he can use his enhancement, and also just to be, you know, a really tough unit for the enemy to get through. Like normally they can charge into things, might not necessarily kill everything, but they just survive. You know, it's 5 Terminators. 2 with 4 wounds, a 3 armor of contempt from the captain. It's you know, you need to put some considerable amount of damage into them to kill them. So they were nice. That's good. I'll talk more about them when I go through the sort of index review, what Terminators can do. But that unit. Elsewhere in my list, I have a unit of 10 Hellblasters with a Lieutenant. So he obviously gives them lethal hits and fallback shoot and charge. Very nice. That they were one of my main damage dealing units. Didn't have the points to put the Beacon Angelus on the Lieutenant, which is what I always used to do. So I sort of relied on hiding them and then doing the teleport stratagem on them to then pick them up, bring them out of hiding and drop them down where they needed to be to deliver some pain. And they were really good when I activated the sustained hits tactic to go with the lethal hits of the Lieutenant. Getting 6s for lethal and sustained was really nice on them with rerolls for Oath of Moment. And to sort of tee them up, if you like, I had a unit of Incursors. So the Incursors would shoot at the target the Hellblasters are going to shoot at, because then the Hellblasters are hit on 2s with rerolls from Oath of Moment, with 6s being lethal and sustained. So I just fish for 6s, and they can do a lot of damage. So they're the damage dealers. These guys helped them out and helped out whoever else needed to shoot at the same target if it survived the Hellblasters. Incursors are just really cheap. They're like 80 points for a unit that can scout. You know, you can pop smoke with them. You get a little mine that can blow up and stuff. They're just a really cheap little utility unit. And, you know, if someone wants to target them and kill them so I don't get the +1 hit, fine. It's an 80-point unit. So, yeah, they're really useful, I found. Behind them I had a unit of 5 infiltrators with a Phobos librarian. Their job is essentially to sit on the home objective every game, spread out as far as they can, and deny as much deep strike as possible, which they were absolutely brilliant at. Because it's a unit of 6, I can string them out as much as I like, as long as they're all within 2 inches of one other guy. And then I'll just put like the librarian on the home objective and then spread the rest either side. You know, unless someone literally ran through my entire army, they never got to my deployment zone. So it was really good at holding the home objective and also denying secondaries, like if people get engaged or behind enemy lines or deploy teleport hammer. It's like, yeah, you're not getting my deployment zone. It's not happening. Sorry, not today. And obviously the librarian gives them lone operatives, so you can't even shoot them unless you get within 12 either. Never mind not deep strike within 12. So the only way people can actually kill them is to literally walk up to them and smack them, pretty much. So they're a really good, useful unit. Next to them, I have the Calidus Assassin. Deathwatch, I've also got the uppy downy strategy where I can pick up 2 kill teams or 1 other Astartes infantry unit. Calidus Assassin for 100 points, I essentially get another free uppy downy. So I was very versatile with secondaries, things popping off the board, popping back on the board. I was always in the right place at the right time to score the points, which really helped. I think by now we all know what a Calidus Assassin does. She's really cool, so that's good. She's obviously a lone operative as well, so yeah, difficult to get rid of as well. Behind her, 3 eliminators with the snipers, and then I've got the sergeant with the move, shoot, move bolter thing. So the reason why they're in the list is essentially that they're a cheap infiltrating unit that I don't mind if someone kills them early on because they're cheap. Obviously the Calidus can infiltrate as well, but she needs to be kept safe. So if someone's got loads of scout moves or something in their army, I would essentially just infiltrate them in front of their scouting units just to block them. And then if they die early on, they die early on. If they survive, they can, run out of a building, snipe a character, run back in the building. So they're just a very useful, cheap utility unit again, similar to the Incursors. And yeah, I think they did okay. They didn't really kill much, but they were certainly a nuisance. They ate Overwatch a couple of times when they moved out. But that's fine because that means I didn't have to worry about Overwatch elsewhere for other units. So I think that they did okay. I might drop them for a lone lieutenant because he's a bit cheaper and can kind of do the same role. Except he hasn't got move, shoot, move, but he is a lone operative. So yeah, I might do that in the future. But they did okay. They did okay. Next to here, I've got a Rhino with 2 units of 5 Deathwatch veterans, one of which has a chaplain. So I love Rhinos, especially when you can fill them full of Deathwatch veterans because they're really good with their own inbuilt rerolls. And their weaponry is pretty cool. And obviously their battle line, which is useful for some missions, and they got decent OC as well. So let's chuck a bunch of decent guys in a Rhino. So 2 units of 5. Both have got a sergeant with Xenophase Blade and combi weapon. Both have got 2 guys with swords and storm shields. One's got a couple of guys with guns, the Infernus Revolver and the frag cannon, just so I can use fire in deck a little bit and do a bit of firepower. Their job was normally just to sit on the objective and just hold it once they got blasted out of their Rhino. The other unit's job was to run around with a chaplain and go and absolutely smash things to bits. So instead of the guns, they had 2 heavy thunder hammers. And then obviously the chaplain, who's not Chaplain Cassius, I call him El Chapo, but he's Chaplain Cassius model. To give them +1 wound on all these swords and the hammers was really nice. I like having a chaplain in a Rhino, because when you get blown out of a Rhino, your units are battle shocked. He can point at one of them and make them not battle shocked again. So if someone wants to take an objective off of you, like storm hostile objective, and they think, oh, I know, I'll just block that Rhino and then run onto the objective. Nah, you're going to have to kill one of these units as well. So that's really useful to have. And +1 wound is, like I said, really good on the hammers, the swords, and his Crozius, which isn't a normal Crozius. I gave him the Thief of Secrets, which I think was the best thing I ever did with him. He was an absolute beat stick. Because then his Crozius goes up to strength 7, AP2, 3 damage, which sounds pretty tasty anyway, especially when you add into the fact he's re-rolling hits because of them and getting +1 because of himself. And then when he killed up model, it then went up to strength 8, AP3, 4 damage. He was an absolute weapon. Because him and these guys came busting out the Rhino, hit something, butchered it, then he got even better, and then they ran off and butchered the next unit. They were really, really good every single game. Absolutely fantastic. I could make a 10-man unit with a chaplain, but I just liked having the X unit that could just sit back and hold objectives so they could run off and do their thing. So I think I'll stick with that. That was really good. I like it. The FIFA secrets on a chaplain with veterans definitely works. Definitely works. And then finally, because you can have Dreadnoughts again with Deathwatch, 2 Redemptors, a Ballistus, and a Tet Marine. So the Ballistus would just sit back in my deployment zone, just shooting things. So the Infiltrators would screen out most of the deployment zone, and what they can't screen out, he then sits the other side, screening out the rest of it and shooting things. So my deployment zone was basically entirely screened out. A bit of long-range Dacker as well, because I haven't really got much anti-tank, really. That is the only las cannons in the list. Obviously, I've got Cyclones, I've got Plasma, more Plasma, and also I can have army-wide lethal hits, which is really nice. But yeah, I needed some proper anti-tank, and they're cheap now, so yeah. And there's only inbuilt rerolls, which is nice. Rerolls when you're getting lethal and sustained hits is really good. And then 2 Redemptors with the Macro Plasma, the Gatling Gun, Stormbolters and Rocket Pods. Just to, again, just be tough, resilient units. You know, like the Terminators, that's a lot of, you know, tough 2-up saves for people to get through. The Redemptors didn't perform great at the tournament. I think I rolled a 1 or a 2 nearly every time when shooting with their plasmas. But they were decent in combat. They absorbed a lot of firepower, and they were just tough to deal with. And also the Tet Marine making one of them hit on 2s, because he went around with the Redemptors, and then healing them as well. I think they were decent. Not sure I'll keep them in the list. I might see what else I can have instead, but they were definitely good. And also the Tet Marine got angry when one of his Redemptors died, and then was able to go forwards and kill some things. So yeah, I got some tough units with 2-up saves, some really shooty killy units, a bit of utility. Home Jet is really safe, and you know, a little Rhino surprise. It worked really well. So let's quickly overview the games. Okay, so game 1 of the tournament, I won by 74 to 68 points, so not a massively high scoring game. Sort of snatched it at the end. It was against the Imperial Knights, but it wasn't your standard Imperial Knights list. It had Canis Rex, who we all know and love and hate if you're against him. You know, the normal sort of standard knight you can hit on 2s and get loads of sustained hits. He's very, very killy, but not necessarily that durable. And then he had, I think it was just the one armiger with the autocannons to sort of sit at the back and shoot things. I think there were 3 of the melters and the chain swords, the warglaves, and then he had 1 super ridiculously big knight. It wasn't a Castellan, it was like a big Forge World thing. It was absolutely huge. Had like 30 wounds, 2-up save, big ridiculous guns. It was absolutely nuts. So basically I said challenge accepted and did my best to kill it. But the Knights went first. Took out my Rhino turn 1 with this big ridiculously killing knight, because I put the Rhino like right on the edge of my deployment so it can run onto the natural expansion objective. It was search and destroy. So he was going to push around one flank with the veterans inside him. Took out the Rhino turn 1, but nothing else was going to shoot the veterans, so they just disembarked and ran up over towards that objective next turn anyway. And he was also able to take out the Incursors turn 1 as well, which was a bit of a pain, but okay. And then, because he exposed his big knight to shoot a Rhino, I sort of thought, I wonder if that big knight can survive the entire firepower of my entire army turn 1. I gave it a jolly good try. So I think I activated lethal hits turn 1, which I don't normally do, but I had a really big knight to kill. And I think I spent the CP on the Hellblasters and then give them sustained hits, so they had both because of the Lieutenant. And I just went for it and absolutely smashed this big knight. I got him down to like 4 wounds or something from his 30 or whatever he had to start with. So he was very crippled. Didn't actually manage to kill anything that turn, but I got that knight in a situation where I could easily finish it off. And then, yeah, Deathwatch Veterans went round to their sort of natural expansion objective. I think the Eliminators died turn 1 as well, or turn 2. I was able to get them away. Candace was bouncing up and down, Infiltrators sitting at the back, Terminators and the Redemptors were going over to finish off the big knight for the next turn. And then Knight's turn 2, he ran a Warglaive down the middle of the table, and I overwatched it with the Hellblasters, who still had lethal and sustained, and managed to take it out on Overwatch. Oh, full health Warglaive. So that caused him some problems. And then he took out, what did he take out? I think he took out a couple of things here and there, but didn't really do much in his turn 2. The big knight didn't kill much. I think it just killed some Terminators, because I think the Terminators charged and almost finished them off, and then he shot the Terminators in the face at point blank range. I think he actually killed them, actually. Yes, he did. He killed them, because I remember him killing my Warlord before I could activate my double Oath of Moment thing, which was a pain, but it was okay, because I'd already almost killed the big knight and killed a Warglaive, so there weren't that many knights left anyway. But knights killing a Warlord is big, because then in their next command phase they get loads of command points and a 5-up Feel No Pain. So in my turn 2, I then suddenly thought, right, I've got to kill as much as possible before the knights get a 5-up Feel No Pain. So I did. Finished off the big knight, finished off the little Warglaive that was next to the big knight. This was with the Redemptors and El Chapo and his mates. Went around and dealt with that. And then I was able to shoot some shots sort of down the middle of the board towards the autocannon knight, I think with the ballistas. I think I one-shotted it with the ballistas or something crazy like that. He failed his invulnerable saves. I just rolled really high on the damage and just took it off the board, which was great because the Calidus jumped in behind on the home objective, which was left vacant. And then the rest of the game, it was just Canis Rex with a Warglaive going down the flank, which eventually got to my home objective. But I just had the rest of the board and sort of ran away on the points on that one. So an interesting first game. It proved that Deathwatch has still got the killing power to really smash big things, which is nice, even when I don't have much anti-tank, because you can have lethal hits on everything. It was really good. And then, yeah, so that was a good win for game 1. And then going into game 2. Going into game 2, I was facing the Necrons. It was a Canoptic Dynasty detachment, one with all the rerolls and Canoptic and Cryptic units. Funny thing, it was actually against the TO for this event, who I'd actually lent my Necrons army to, because it was an odd number of people at events. So I was actually playing against my own army, which was strange. But the TO knew Necrons, he was going to bring Necrons, didn't bring them in the end, because it was an even number, and then someone dropped out in the morning, so I brought along my Necrons for him. So it was a list he knew how to use, but I knew it because I made the list, so it was an interesting one. But I won that, I think it was 87-79 or something like that. So it was another close one. I can't remember exactly what happened in the game. It was a bit of a mosh pit in the middle with the Nightbringer going down the middle with a bucket load of warriors. And I just had to chew through as much as I could. This was it Search and Destroy or Crucible of Battle, this one? I think this was Search and Destroy again for the second game, so opposite table quarters. So I did similar to what I did first time, with the Rhino right on the flank, ready to get the natural expansion one. Terminators were in the middle, ready to push forwards. Hellblasters at the back to teleport forwards. Similar things to what I did last time. And then, yeah, sort of, I think I went first that one. I can't remember who went first. Yes, I went first that one. Just checking the stats on my app. So I don't think I really did much turn one. I just sort of positioned myself to where I needed to be. So the Rhino with the veterans went round the flank, got on the objective. Other units stayed hidden that needed to stay hidden. Moved forwards if they needed to move forwards. Got my secondaries, did that sort of thing. Because it was linchpin and raised banners. So I actually got one unit of the veterans out the Rhino turn one and just ran back onto the home objective just to get a raised banner point. And then later on they then ran forwards. That was the unit with the guns. The combat unit stayed in the Rhino. And I think they got raised banners the next turn. But yeah, not much happened turn 1 for me. Turn 1 for the Necrons, I don't think much happened either, because I didn't really give him much to shoot at. He just sort of shuffled around a bit. Some Scorpex went around the flank towards my Rhino. Doomstalkers positioned themselves to shoot things. And a big blob of warriors and a Catan made their way down the middle. Turn 2. This unit was absolutely amazing. They got out the Rhino, ran towards the Scorpex, charged in, and basically took out every single Scorpex destroyer. It was a big unit, so it took out 6 Scorpex destroyers with ease. and wounded the Scorpec Lord, almost killed him if it wasn't for the opposing player making a bucket load of 4+ invulnerable saves. I had a crack at the Catan as well. I think he was my for moment target. I think I did double O for that turn on the Catan and the big unit of warriors in the middle. Chewed through some of the warriors, but there's 20 warriors all with a 5 at Fiona Pain, and they went to ground to give them cover and invulnerable save. It was a lot to chew through, and I was focusing more on the Catan, really, who I damaged, but not nearly as much as I wanted to. And that was sort of the story of the game, really. The Catan just wouldn't fall. Every time I damaged it, it reanimated and reanimated and reanimated. I just couldn't kill it. Just couldn't kill it. But I didn't focus too much on it. I was still making sure I was getting my points, killing the other units. So yeah, the Scorpex died not long after that. The warriors that were on like their natural expansion just sort of stayed there because the secondaries meant they sort of had to stay there to get points and things. I slowly chewed through the big unit of warriors in the middle. The Canoptic Doomstalkers sort of slowly took out one by one with, I think the Ballistas helped out a little bit. Chaplain and the Deathwatch, after they took out the Scorpex, then went round and smashed a Doomstalker. And then the next turn went round and smashed another Doomstalker. So MVP unit all tournament was those 5 guys and the Chaplain. Yeah, so I sort of took out all the things around the edges, and sort of the Nightbringer and the Warriors survived the game. But I took out all the other things that could score the points. And we were playing Linchpin, and he had Immortals on his home objective. The Canada sort of jumped in and butchered the Immortals, so that's the Linchpin objective gone. And then from that point onwards, I was sort of able to run away with the points. But yeah, it was a close game. It was very frustrating playing against my Necron list because I know how difficult it is to kill. And how killy those Doomstalkers can be with the full rerolls. But I weathered the storm, just about survived. I was able just to max secondaries and win on secondaries, really, with all my Downy shenanigans and the movement I had over the Necrons. So that was a good game. Hats off to Patrick, the TO. He was a great TO all day. Playing and TOing is always difficult. And playing a list that wasn't his. He certainly gave me a good game. So yeah, hats off to him for that. But that was 2-0 to the Deathwatch. So moving into game 3. So game 3, I'm there on table 2. So there's a chance I can win this tournament if the guys on table 1 don't score highly. Table 1, it was Custodians and Imperial Knights. So that was going to be a bit of a slap fest. But I was against Necrons again, which I kind of didn't mind. I mean, these guys get full rerolls against Necrons, which helped these guys massively in that game too. So I could sort of just over moment things that they aren't going for, which I kind of do anyway. But the Necrons list was a Hypercrypt Dynasty one, which is absolutely perfect when you've got 5 infiltrators with a librarian sitting at the back, because I don't care about your deep strike with free shenanigans. You can't do it. There was no way he could get my deployment zone all game. I just locked that down completely. So it sort of messed with his detachment rule a bit. There's so many detachments now that have uppy downy things and deep striking within 3. Infiltrators are absolutely priceless. Put a librarian with them. I think every Space Marine list should have 5 infiltrators with a Phobos librarian, to be honest. For 170 points, you can lock down your deployment zone all game and deny loads of secondaries. They don't kill anything, they just get points and deny points. It's worth it. Do it. So yeah, it was Hypercrypt Necrons. It was a wacky list, I tell you. He had 2 Tesseract Vaults, which are like monoliths with Catans in them. So yeah, okay. And then he had 1 Doomsday Art, the floaty tank with a really big gun. He had 1 Doomsday Walker Feng. Well, the Canoptic Doomstalker, that's the one. And then he had big unit of Scorpex with a Scorpec Lord. So I'd already faced the unit just like that. I know what can deal with them. And then there was some heavy destroyers with the anti-infantry guns. And there was a big unit of Immortals with Tesla and a Plasmancer. So that's the anti-infantry sorted. And then he had a Imotech who just sat at the back all game and just farmed CP like an absolute boss. So it was a bit of a wacky list. Not many units to it, but certainly powerful units in the Doomsday Arc and the Coptic Doomstalker and the 2 Tesseract Vaults. I was like, oh, okay. But after facing Knights turn 1 and dealing with that big Knight, I was like, yeah, I can take big things with this list. No problem. And so it began. So I think the Necrons won the roll-off to go first. Neither of us wanted to go first because we both got teleport shenanigans. So I was like, I'm happy to go second. And he was like, yeah, I want to go second too. And we both actually rolled the same for the first roll-off, so we had to re-roll it. Neither of us wanted to go first. But Necrons ended up going first, which was absolutely fine by me because I had hidden everything. He had nothing to shoot at whatsoever. He just moved things around a bit. I think he scored a couple of secondary points, and that was literally it. This one was the Crucible of Battle one, so it was corner to middle, middle to corner, so kind of a bit like table quarters, but not quite. So I think he got engaged turn 1, which was an easy one for that deployment, but that's about it. Didn't score many. And then I had my turn 1. I overmomented the Doomsday Arc, because it came around the flank, positioned itself really well to see straight down the middle of the board, and it's got heavy, and if it stays still, it's devastating wounds. So I know if I didn't take that out, whatever I run down the middle will just get absolutely obliterated. So at the end of his turn 1, I actually picked up the Hellblasters with teleport strat, dropped them down, momented the Doomsday Arc, spotted it with the Incursors, shot it with the Hellblasters, and just absolutely blew it to shreds. I was like, cool, that's that done. And it was also Purge the Foe as well. And you never want to go first with Purge the Foe because there's never anything to shoot at and get your kill points for turn 1, and then you move things out and then you lose something turn 1. So it's really not a good mission to go turn 1, especially when you're a teleporting army. So he was up against it, really, winning that roll-off. But yeah, so Hellblasters came over, dealt with Doomsday Arc. I think I moved up Redemptor out just to have some pot shots. I think I had some pot shots at his Doomstalker because, again, he positioned that ready for the next turn with his +1 hit from heavy. Had some pot shots at that, but Redemptor bounced off a Doomstalker. I did like 1 wound to it. I was like, great. As mentioned earlier, I did not roll well on the plasmas, which was a shame. Everything else just sort of positioned itself, stayed hidden. The Rhino zipped round towards a natural expansion objective, ready so that even if it got blown up, I can get the guys out behind a wall on the objective still. But the Rhino just sat on the objective. And that was my turn 1. Took out the Doomsday Arc, scratched the Doomstalker, and all I really exposed to him was a Rhino and a Redemptor, because where the Hellblasters were was sort of hidden behind another ruin. I sort of put them somewhere really safe where they could take out the Doomsday Arc and nothing else could get to them. Not really anyway. So that was a good turn 1 for me. At the end of my turn, he did pick up his heavy destroyers with his Hypercrypt thing and drop them down somewhere where they could see the Hellblasters. But their anti-infantry guns are okay, but they're not amazing. So I think he only took out a couple of Hellblasters. I think they shot back and I think killed one of the destroyers, so I was like, that's fair. I think the Scorpion destroyers went up and came back down again as well, 9 inches away from my Rhino. I think he was really trying to charge my Rhino with the Scorpex in his turn 2, but failed the 9-inch charge. But between his Tesseract Bolts and his Canoptic Doomstalker, he was able to take out the Redemptor that I'd exposed. So he did get something to purge the foe at least, which is a bit annoying. I probably shouldn't have exposed the Redemptor at all when it's just 1. But okay, that was probably an error on my part, but that was that. And then going into my turn 2, the Chapman and his mates got out of the Rhino, charged and murdered all the Scorpex. This unit is amazing for killing things that have 3 wounds with all the hammers and the Souped Up Crozius. Absolutely fantastic. Murdered all the Scorpex again. It was basically a rerun of what happened in game 2. Killed all the Scorpex, but the Scorpec Lord, and then finished them off later. So they did really well. In my turn 2, I think I momented the Tesseract Vault, and I think it was a Doomstalker. I thought I'd have a go at that Doomstalker again, and that Tesseract Vault. So I had a proper go at the Tesseract Vault with the Hellblasters lined up by the Incursors, with the other Redemptor and the Ballistas and the Cyclones. I put everything into this Tesseract Vault. Almost killed it, and I barely scratched the Doomstalker again. I was like, Doomstalker. But I almost killed the Tesseract Vault, killed all the Scorpex. Yeah, it was a good turn 2. That did a lot of damage. And then he had a problem because he didn't have that many units. Necrons hit back, killed some more Hellblasters. killed the Eliminators. I think they actually died on Overwatch in my turn 2 when they popped out the rune. I think the Immortals just Overwatched and killed them. Tried shooting this Rhino. I'm going to say it now. The Rhino survived pretty much the whole game. You threw a decent amount at it and it just wouldn't die. And obviously it kept on healing as well. So it reanimated almost as much as the Necrons, which I found was hilarious. The other Dreadnought survived the whole game as well. He just couldn't get through the 2-up saves. The Terminator survived all game as well. The Incursors fell, I think, in the Necrons turn 3. and like half, I'd only had half the Hellblasters left. But yeah, I still had quite a lot left to then hit back, finish off that Tesseract Vault. I finished off the Immortals. I even dropped in to try and have a pop at Imhotech, but he had a 2-up save and a 4-pin Vault and he was in cover. I couldn't get him off the home objective. And then it ended up me sort of piling the Redemptor, the Blisters, and the Terminators into the second Tesseract Vault at the end of the game to deny him that objective, and then sort of slowly finish that off. So it was a war of attrition. Neither of us had particularly great dice rolls. My plasmas were terrible. His rolls to hit, I think he rolled like 1,000,000 ones in this game. It was just crazy. But yeah, again, this unit just went around smashing stuff. The Redemptors and the Terminators just proved resilient game after game after game. Not the most killy units, but resilient. Let the Hellblasters do the killing. Let the Veterans do the killing. The Incursors line things up. They can do a bit of killing, obviously, but they didn't do the heavy lifting. I think one of my Redemptors was punching a Tesseract Vault for about 3 or 4 fight phases continuously. But yeah, it was a bit of a wacky game, that one. But I got the win. So that was 3-0. I scored well throughout the games. The first game was a bit of a low scoring one because it was, what was that one? Burden of Trust. So it's not that great for primary. And that was against that wacky night list. So I was just like, yeah, that was interesting. Second 2 scored a lot higher. I scored like 90 in this one and like 80 something in the other one. So I think the scores got better as this one went on. I had 70 something, 80 something, and then 90 something. So I scored okay. Secondaries are doing really, really well with the Canada's and the teleporty things bouncing up and down and the utility units. I was able to score secondaries consistently well, which is really good. Primaries, the Veterans were really good for primaries and a Rhino. Absolutely fantastic. Obviously, the Infiltrators have their home objective sorted, and then from Redemptors and Terminators down the middle to contest the middle worked okay. So yeah, it was good around tournament. I ended up coming second though. The Custodians player got 3 wins as well, and he only dropped like 20 points across the 3 games. So he essentially outscored me. But that's fine. For an army that was the worst faction in the game before we lost our index, to come back and go 3-0 and come second, I'm happy with that. So that's how the tournament went. That was my list. I guess now I'll talk a little bit about the new index. So, Deathwatch Index review. It's new, it's back. It's kind of the same, but not quite as good. Because the tome event declared's changed to just be reroll hit rolls and 2 targets, reroll hits and wounds. But other than that, the detachment itself is basically the same. We've still got the lethal hits, sustained hits, precision hits, and critical hits. So it's basically Space Marines, but more killy, which is fantastic because normally normal Space Marines aren't killy enough, in my opinion. So that's really good. That's all fine. The enhancements are still really good. Still double of Oath from the moment is still really strong. And it's gone down in points. It used to be 40, I think, the term of claims. It's 30 now, but it is only reroll hit rolls. So I think that's fine. 30 points, that's fine. FIFA Secrets at 25 is a bit more pricey than it was before. But I don't think I could have spent it any more wisely putting it on a chaplain with Deathwatch Veterans. That worked really well. Getting that Crozius to be a super Crozius with the +1 a wound and the rerolls to hit with the Veterans. Other thing you could do is obviously the Watchmaster with the FIFA Secrets with Veterans, so he gets the rerolls. And also the Watchmaster's got Lance, so he himself gets +1 a wound with the FIFA Secrets, which is nice. And obviously he's a bit more durable than a chaplain, but he's a lot more points than a chaplain as well. But he does allow him to advance and charge, advance, shoot and charge, fall back, shoot and charge. So Watchmaster or a Chaplain, I think, for FIFA Secrets is probably the way to go. Something that gets +1 wound in addition to the extra strength, AP, and damage is really nice. Other enhancements, Beacon Angelus, yeah, still really good. You can give a character in his unit Deep Strike and Rapid Ingress for free, so that's really good. I always used to run it on Lieutenant with Hellblasters. Didn't have points in the tournament to do that, but with the teleporty stratagem, I was able to sort of do what I wanted with them anyway. But if I had the points spare, I probably would have done it. Because then I didn't need the CP for it. I could spend the CP elsewhere. And then the other one, the Osseous Key, to sort of nullify a vehicle a little bit within 12 inches of a Tech Marine. I mean, you don't really want anyone within 12 inches of a Tech Marine because he's got lone operative. And if a vehicle's getting within 12 to shoot you, then yeah, it's a really cool strat, but it's very, very situational. So I wouldn't really bother with that. I'd just, if you want to have 3 enhancements, have the other 3. Meanwhile, the key kill teams, the only firstborn kill team now is the Deathwatch Veterans, but they're really good, so that's kind of fine. I'm happy with that. The re-rolls is really nice. The war gear is really nice. Yeah, they're really good. Battle line units, they're cheap. They can go in a Rhino. Absolutely fantastic. Happy with that. Same as what we had before. Fantastic. It's a shame we've lost a Proteus kill team, which was the mixed Terminator, Firstborn, Vanguard Veti, and Bike kill team. But let's all be honest with ourselves, Deathwatch players. That kill team was a bit of a mess. So I'm kind of glad they got rid of it. The Terminators, though, they actually have the kill team keyword now, which is great for the stratagems, because many of the stratagems say you can do it with 2 kill teams or 1 other unit. So, for example, if you want to do that up and downy, you can do it with a unit of Terminators and another kill team. Or the extra AP on Storm Bolters. If you want to do that, you can get extra AP on some other units Bolters as well for the same CP. So, yeah, them having kill teams really good. Good thing to think about with the Deathwatch Terminators, though. They dropped in points by 30 points to what they were. All the Space Marine Terminator units did drop in points since then, though. But I still think they're now the same points as an Assault Terminator squad, and they're just better. Because even if you equip them all with hammers and shields or lightning claws, their rule is just better than the Assault Terminator squad rule. So they've still got that when they end a charge, things take a battle shot test rule, the same as the Assault Terminators, but this one's -1 if you're Xenos, which is a nice little touch. In addition to that, they can reroll charges by themselves now. So you don't need a captain with them to reroll charges, because obviously that's his ability. Now they can do it themselves, which is nice. Which helps when you're teleporting Terminators around the board. Rerolling those 9-inch charges if you want to teleport and charge. Oh, and obviously they've got the teleport home if you want to do that as well, which is nice. You can get your 3 heavy weapons back. So like I've done here, I've got 3 Cyclones and 2 Hammonators. That's how I would run them every time. These soak up the wounds. They do the damage. It works really nice. Obviously, if you want a big 10-man unit, you can, but you can still only get 3 heavy weapons in a 10-man unit. So you're better off having 2 5-man units, really, unless you want to have a character with 10 Terminators running around, which, of course, will be fun. The other kill teams worth mentioning, they got the new Jumpy kill team. So this is one with the Assault Intercessors and all Gravis Jumpy dudes. They get extra AP when they deep strike from ranged attacks, or Lance if they make a charge to turn their deep strike, which sounds really, really good. But if you like Inceptors, the Gravis Jumpy dudes, they're better as Inceptors because you get the deep strike just outside of free roll. And if you prefer, jumpy guys you like getting in combat, I think standard Assault Intercessors is just better with a Hammer of Wrath. So this unit is a kind of unit that you really probably want the Inceptors with the Bolters, not the Plasmas, because the Plasmas get loads of AP anyway. So you drop down with 3 Bolter Inceptors to then get them up to AP2 as standard before you spend the stratagem on them to then up them to AP3 if you want to. AP3 on those Bolters will be pretty brutal. And then the Assault Intercessors or with heavy bolt pistols to then up them to AP2 as standard, and then go up to AP3. So you then get an AP3 heavy bolt pistols and AP3 twin-linked heavy bolters. They're a unit you really want to deep strike down and just just delete chaff. Or even, AP3. Yeah, or maybe you don't increase the AP. Maybe you go, okay, I'll have AP2 heavy bolt pistols and AP2 heavy bolters with their ability, and then spend the stratagem to give them anti-infantry 2 up. So those heavy bolt pistols only winning all infantry on 2s. is very nice, and you're guaranteed to wound with every shot from heavy bolters, because not only will they be anti-infantry 2-up, they're twin-linked. So they're definitely infantry killers on the deep strike with guns. That's how I would run them. I wouldn't worry about them making the charge and getting lance. If you make the charge, great, but I'd put as many bolt weapons in that unit as possible. That's how I'd run them if I was to run that instead of the assault intercessors and the inceptors. Right, there's also the Forces kill team, which is the mixed intercessor kill team. So you can have intercessors, you can have Hellblasters, you can have Infernus Marines, you can even have Desolation Marines quite now as well, which is quite nice. So you can have a unit packed with quite a lot of punch, but they are only guys with a 3+ save. Let's not forget that. The bolt rifles, though, have improved. I think they got an extra strength and an extra AP, which is nice. So again, if you put the bolter stratagems on them for the special ammunition, you can really make these bolters do some work. But they are still bolters, so let's not get too carried away. But it is an interesting kill team if you like to have some intercessors with bolters, with Desolation Marines, with Infernus Marines, with Plasmas all in one unit. Fantastic. It'll be really a cool unit. And they'll get +1 hit against a unit that's not at starting strength, and +1 wound if they're below half strength. So it's really easy to kill a wound from kill a guy in a squad, and then the Fortress team loads in at hitting on 2s. It's really nice with a lot of bolter shots and plasma shots and super frag and super crack rockets and things. They can do quite a bit of damage. Similar to Hellblasters, they can do quite a lot of damage, but they can't really take the damage back. So they're almost sort of a trade-in unit. You throw them out, hope they kill something, and just sort of go, okay, yeah, they're dead next turn. But they're an interesting unit. Would I take a mixed unit over a unit of Hellblasters? Probably not. I think having 10 plasma with lethal and sustained from Lieutenant and Kill Team Tactics and Shoot on Death is really great, because they are just a problem. How do you kill Hellblasters unless you get in combat with them? You shoot them, they shoot you back. Force Kill Team is nice though. It's definitely worth thinking about now, whereas before it was a bit pants. But I think I'll still just run Hellblasters as Hellblasters. But big 10-man unit just with bolt rifles might be interesting, just to deal with like a horde of something, just bolt them down. Could be interesting. So Fortress Kill Team, better than it was, a lot better than it was. But again, there are still other alternatives like Hellblasters. If you like Desolation Marines and Infernus Marines, then it's probably better, because Desolation Marines are very expensive. But yeah, I think if you want guys with plasmas, they're probably better for a Hellblaster squad. But if you want bolters and Desolation Marines, then run Fortress Kill Team. Next kill team I'll have a look at is the Indominator kill team. Yes, the Indominator kill team is the one with Gravis. It's all the chunky boys. The ones on foot anyway, because the jumpy ones are in the Talon Strike kill team, which is the jumpy one I mentioned a minute ago. This is the walking Gravis kill team. So this is your heavy intercessors, your eradicators, and your aggressors. This one looks interesting. 270 points for 10 dudes. Quite pricey. But the heavy bolt rifles are really good. They're now damage 2 with an extra AP. Strength 5, AP 2, 2 damage, I think they are as standard. I'm not looking at the index right now, but I think that's what they are on memory. They look really interesting, especially when combining with the special ammunition stratagems. And what makes this unit really tasty is that you can actually have 3 eradicators in it now, which is nice. In addition to the fact it's their ability. Their ability is amazing. Basically, if they shoot the nearest thing, everything in the unit gets +2 strength. Yes, +2 strength. Which then puts the heavy bolt rifles up to strength 7. And they're 2 damage. And I think they're AP 2. And you can use special ammo to make them anti-infantry or even more AP. So those bolters at strength 7, AP lots 2 damage, almost become pseudo Hellblasters. Almost. And bearing in mind these are on guys that are toughness 6 with 3 wounds, they're going to get a hit back and survive it a bit more than Hellblasters. So that's interesting just in and of itself. Makes them even more interesting is your melt rifles on the Eradicators go up to strength 11 when you're shooting the nearest target. Ooh, melt rifles at strength 11. Now that's tasty. Now you're wounding all but the big things in the game on freeze. Predators, freeze. Rhinos, freeze. Dreadnoughts, freeze. Big dreadnoughts, freeze. Okay, you're still wounding, your Land Raiders and your Knights and things on 5s, but you were doing that before anyway. Also means strength 11, you're winning things on Terminators on 2s now. Yay! That's cool. Let's have some melters that can actually maybe do some damage. Obviously, you haven't got the rerolls like the Eradicators have got, but at strength 9, they needed the rerolls. At strength 11, you maybe don't. So, okay. In addition, obviously, in addition to +2 strength when you shoot the nearest thing, they also get +2 in combat when they charge. So the aggressors go up to strength 10 with their power fists. Or if you've got a Gravis Captain with them, he gets in strength 10 with his power fists on the charge. So they're a really punchy, shooty unit. You want to get them down the middle, up close and personal, shoot the nearest thing, do some damage, charge him, finish it off. 270 points. They're not massively durable for 270 points, but they can definitely do some hurt. I'm definitely going to try them out. I'm definitely intrigued by the Indominator kill team. That's the kill team, along with the Terminators, that I like the most. Fortress kill team is interesting, but I prefer Hellblasters. I almost prefer a standard unit of Intercessors, because you can have 5 for sticky objectives. All the kill teams have to come with minimum 10 men. So do you want to have 10 guys with 3+ saves running around that just fall over? I don't know. The Talon Strike one, like I said, it's not really a chargy unit with jump packs. It's kind of shooty, but you really want it with the bolters. But I don't know. Indominator kill team, though, looks really tasty. I like that. I like the Deathwatch Terminator squad as well. Now, the final kill team I'm going to talk about is the Phobos kill team, also known as Spectrus. Spectrus kill team. It's basically the same as what it was before. The bolt weapons on the Infiltrators and the Incursors got a little bit better. I think they got a bit of AP now. Nice. If you've got Reavers in the unit, their knives get a bit of AP now. Nice. So they're a bit more killy than what they were before. But that's not really the Spectrus kill team's role to kill things. It's to be sneaky and help with secondaries. You can have Eliminators in it as well, so you can have Las Fusils and Sniper, but you can have the move, shoot, move gun, which is nice. So you can have a big unit that can move out, shoot some bolters that are half decent now, move back, hide again. But it's 200 points on bolters. No. Yeah, they've got the uppy downy rule, which is nice, but again, it's a unit of 10 guys you've got to try and squeeze in somewhere. And because of the teleport stratagem, the up and downy rule's kind of redundant. How many things do you need to pick up and put down each turn? 1 or 2 at most, maybe 3. You've got 2 kill teams and a Canada, so that's your 3. Yeah? Why do you need a 4th? I don't know. It's an interesting unit. For 200 points, getting 10 Phobos guys. I think it's not overpriced, but it's trying to fulfill a role that's already fulfilled by the army anyway, with the up and downy stratagem. In terms of shooty bolt weapons, you've got plenty of those elsewhere for your Terminators and your Indominators and your Fortis. I don't know where they would fit into a competitive list. Because personally, if I want an infiltrating unit, okay, they can infiltrate and scout, which is nice, but if you want an infiltrating unit, you want it to be cheap. Eliminators, alone lieutenant. If you want infiltrators, you'll run them as infiltrators, so you get your deep strike denial, and it's just 100 points for 5. I don't know. It's interesting, but I personally wouldn't bother. I'll stick with Eliminators, Incursors, and Infiltrators. Thank you very much. I'm not going to bother running the Spectrus kill team when I can do up and downies elsewhere and have more killer units elsewhere. I'm not spending 200 points on a unit that will go up and down, shoot some bolters, and then go up and down again and shoot some more bolters. I'm not going to do it. I've got better things to spend my points on. Sorry. That's my opinion. There are better things to spend your points on. They're an interesting unit, but I wouldn't say they're particularly great. So that's that. I think that's the last kill team. I think I spoke about all the kill teams. That's my thoughts and things about the index. I've mentioned my list that I took to the tournament and sort of gave a review of that. If anyone's got any questions about Deathwatch or any thoughts, feel free to comment below. I'll more than happily talk about Deathwatch. I love my Deathwatch. I hope this has been insightful for those Deathwatch players who want to know how they can do competitively and what units should be competitively taken. Because just because you've got all these cool new kill teams now doesn't mean they're necessarily better than the Space Marine datasheet equivalents. Like with the Phobos ones. I think the standard Space Marine Phobos units are just better. Wouldn't bother with that. Deathwatch Kill Team Terminator is good. Indominator Kill Team, good. The Jumpy Kill Team, I'm not so sure. I think Assault Witnesses and Inceptors are better as they are. Fortis Kill Team, that's the one that's sort of in the middle, I think. I think these two definitely yes. Deathwatch Veterans definitely yes. Them no. Talon Strike, I wouldn't bother. Fortis Kill Team, take it or leave it, I think, as the points are as they are now. But yeah, that's my thoughts and feelings and things. And yeah, thanks for watching. Hope that was useful. And I'll see you in the next one.